Oh man, it's clobbering time. What's going on, guys, and welcome to Watch It in Action. I'm your host, BouseFeenux, and today we're gonna punch some dudes. No, but for real, we're covering the Furax Wraith, which is an upgraded version of the already existing Furax, and was released as a reward for completing the Rathum event. Real quick, though, I did want to say how blown away I was when I read your guys' supportive comments on my update video. It was super humbling to read your guys' responses, and I'm extremely grateful to have the community that I do. And with your guys' support, I've gone ahead and put out the first episode of Going Analog, which seems to be doing really well, and I think I'll try to put one of those out a week. Anyway, back to the weapon. The Furax Wraith is a pretty massive upgrade over the regular Furax, and features increased critical chance, critical damage, and attack speed. Base damage has remained unchanged, though. Overall, I feel the Furax Wraith is a very solid weapon, but it does suffer from extremely short range, which is an issue with all fist weapons. But if you can get past that and get in close, you'll be able to absolutely decimate your foes. So I was really interested in this weapon, and I decided to put together a build for it. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. For a melee weapon, the Furax Wraith has a pretty steep Forma investment at 2 Forma. This isn't a huge deal, but there are a few other melee weapons that do about the same or better damage for less investment. That being said, though, if you like fist weapons and have nothing else to invest in, then I would highly recommend putting a build on this weapon. To start, the stance mod slot on this weapon comes with a depolarization. This allows us to fit either Gaia's Tragedy or Seismic Palm. Gaia's Tragedy is going to be the stance you'll want to go with if you can. The mod setup for this weapon is pretty simple. You're going to need to start with a pressure point, which adds 120% damage. No brainer here. True Steel is an optional mod because we already have a 25% base crit chance and we're using Blood Rush. But if you put anything more expensive here, you're going to need another Forma. If you go that route, I suggest throwing in another 90% Elemental mod, or if you don't mind the speed loss, a Spoiled Strike. I'm using True Steel because I like the initial bump and crit chance I get, allowing me to get red crits faster. It is player preference though. Berserker is another no-brainer on crit melee weapons as well. It increases our attack speed every time we get a critical hit up to 75%. Super nice to have if your crits are guaranteed like ours will be. The last mod on the top row is Blood Rush, and that increases our critical chance as our combo multiplier climbs. This weapon is the perfect candidate for this mod with its high critical chance and critical damage multiplier. Definitely recommend using this. Fever Strike and Shocking Touch are my 2 elemental mods on this build, and these can literally be any type of element you want. As always, just make sure that your elemental choice is appropriate for the faction you're fighting. Our second to last mod, Organ Shatter, increases our critical damage multiplier. This mod is pretty much essential to our build here. Lastly, we're using Body Count, which is almost a must when using Blood Rush. This mod allows us to extend the timer on our combo multiplier, which is what allows our critical chance and our base weapon damage to increase. Essentially, the higher our combo counter, the more damage we'll be doing. And that about covers it for the mod setup, guys. Let's take it over to the Simulacrum, and I'll show you how this weapon performs in a high-level environment. For today's test, we'll be using some high-level Void enemies. I use these guys because they basically represent each faction in the game, with that faction's most common units. This gives a general idea of how this weapon will perform in just about any given situation. Now, notice a few things as we're totally destroying these guys. Number 1, we almost instantly gained red crits. This thing has insane crit chance, and this build further amplifies that. Number 2, notice what a pain it is to actually get in range to attack something. Fist weapons are the worst when it comes to this. The remedy, though, is that Gaia's Tragedy, our stance mod, has some gap closers if you're good at pulling them off. And number 3, just the sheer amount of damage we're doing as fast as we're doing it. Most of those crits are in the 10,000 range, and with our attack speed, that quickly becomes devastating, even at higher levels. And that about covers it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and again, thank you so much for your support. I would not be where I am without you guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to support it with a like. That helps out a ton. Also, if you're new here, consider subscribing. The vast majority of my content is Warframe based, so you're bound to find something useful here. And lastly, if you haven't already, check out the first episode of Going Analog. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. Peace out.